Disruption Networks. Easy Radio. Disruption Networks.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Local Music Monday. How are you? You can follow along on all Disruption Network social media platforms. You can follow us on YouTube, Twitch, and on Facebook. If you're watching on Facebook, please do us a favor and click the share button. Shout out to the sponsors. If not for the sponsors, this podcast isn't possible. Thank you to Eddie over at EJA Moving Services, the professional movers. When you're ready to move and relocate, hit up Eddie at 315-335-0516. They give you free boxes. They pack up your boxes, and they bring those boxes wherever they need to be brought to. Simple. They're a great, reputable service. Tell them Uncle Z sent you. Also, shout out to Joey's at 307 Mohawk St. If you're in the mood for a good seafood dinner, if you're looking for a revolving dinner menu, or if you need some catering, give them a call today at 315-864-3527. Thank you to my friends at Utica Coffee. I am completely out of coffee, Utica Coffee. I need more, so I'm going to be down there really, really soon. It was a tragedy to come into the studio today and find that there was no coffee in here, and I was like, bumming out about it. But anyways, wakethehellup.com. You can find all their delicious coffee on that website. Shout out to my attorney, Dave Longaretta. Has been keeping me out of trouble since the early 90s. 315-735-6162 is the number you can reach if you need some legal advice. Thank you to our good friends over at Saranac Brewery. Shout out to Billy the Liquor Guy. He's an author of the book called Under Too Long. It's a book about undercover agents infiltrating the bad guys. You can get it on Amazon or wherever you get your books. And also shout out to Ballsy, ballwash.com. Use promo code members only for a 15% discount. Like I said, it's Local Music Monday, and joining me today in studio, the Rebeca Minor trio. So I got John Hansel, Tim Baldwin, Rebeca Minor in the house. Also, you can find them in the Fabulous Mojos. Welcome to the show, everybody.
Thank
good
you.
to be here.
I like it. Got a studio full of people today. I love it. Justin Smithson, unfortunately, could not join us today, but we send a big love out to Justin and the boys from Showtime. Me and Kelly got to check them out this Saturday, and those guys were killing it over at one.
They're amazing.
Aren't they?
They're amazing.
You know,
and I got to hear Justin sing. He doesn't know me from Adam, but I got to see him sing at the Comets game, the national anthem. I mean, they should have him do it every game. He was so good.
Were you at the game where they had music pretty much spread out throughout the auditorium?
So, no, we weren't there for that one. They did have, I think the other gentleman that plays the keyboards was playing the organ that night, and Justin was singing.
Oh, cool.
But that was not the night that they had all the different bands there.
I love that the Comets are incorporating music into the hockey games.
I do, too.
I did see Jose and Justin and Joe Rossi, the drummer. Just the three of them did a few songs out in the lobby.
Yeah.
So I didn't go all the way around. I didn't know they might have had other bands.
Yeah, that evening they had a whole bunch of musicians spread out throughout the Odd. So those guys were playing. There was music in the Horton Room. There was music on the other end of the bar. There was a lot going on. Rob Esch loves music, so it's good that he incorporating a lot of the local musicians because it's so rich with talent in the 315. That's for sure.
Oh, definitely.
Who are some of the guys you like to go frequent when you're out and about, when you're not playing?
Well, I don't know. I enjoy the Brian Mulkern.
Yeah, shout out Brian. Love Brian.
And
Tim, you know Brian, right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, he kind of has a connection there. And the Dust Devil Band.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, just recently got to see Nick Piccanini at play with the Yonder Mountain String Band. They were in Westcott. They were actually at Westcott Theater in Syracuse. And Jason Schnitt, who is an amazing songwriter, local songwriter, he got to open for them. And it was just really cool to see Jason and Nick, two Utica, hometown folks, boys that were doing so well up there. That was really, really cool. That was a lot of fun.
Jay Schnitt's equivalent to our local Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Very creative songwriting.
Between Bob Dylan and maybe Woody Guthrie,
There
Woody
you
and
go.
Arlo Guthrie.
Yeah.
Kind of.
That was Dylan's inspiration, Woody. Yeah.
Yeah. He actually has a funny song about Bob Dylan that he
Oh,
does.
that great.
It's an awesome song.
When Dylan went electric.
Electric,
Yes.
That's the name of that song.
It's
Yeah.
an awesome song.
Yeah, great tune.
Yeah.
Great tune. And how about Yonder Mountain? What a great band they are, too.
I mean, the bluegrass is just, I mean, my roots, I kind of grew up around folk music, grew up in the South, and I'm amazed that here in upstate New York, there's so much really good bluegrass and folk music that I've loved that. But yeah, no, where are they from originally?
Colorado.
Are they? Okay.
Yeah, they're a Colorado band.
Okay.
And Floodwood was playing a couple shows with them at some random festivals, and they saw Nick play, and they're like, perfect fit for those guys.
Yeah.
Perfect fit. Because they had, actually what had happened is their original mandolin player died. He passed away.
Jeez,
Jeff
I didn't
Austin.
know that.
Yeah, and they were looking, searching, and Nick filled his shoes, and
Well, he's filled them very well.
he really has. He really has. And he's doing great things with them. And he's been in the band for a few years now. So it's good to see them doing what they're doing. And I mean, Yonder Mountain's just an enormous band out there. And on the jam band scene, not only on the jam band scene, but in the bluegrass world as well.
Yeah.
What I love about them, too, is they incorporate a lot of cool covers. And they make them their own.
Yes.
And there's some, like Crazy Train. Who covers Crazy Train and makes it bluegrass, you know? Really, really neat. A lot of cool stuff out there.
Yeah.
So what's up with the three of you? What's going on? I feel like you guys should do this band family tree because there's a lot of bands going on between the three of you. There is.
Well, they're probably more interesting.
Stop it.
At least with all of that. But yeah, no, I feel very, very lucky to be playing with these two gentlemen.
How did you guys all link up?
So Garth and my husband and I moved to the area, actually up to Boonville in about 2015, and I had not done any music in a while. And then I started doing nursing home shows actually in 2017. And then I started trying to get back doing my acoustic show, which I had done out in the Rochester and Buffalo area, and where I had also played with a rock band. And I started doing open mics. I think I met Tim it was actually Beth and Fritz's house. And they were having a party at their house, and they invited us to come, and everybody, just a ton of musicians. Brian Mulkern was there, and Beth and Fritz, of course, and Tim was there, and we just started singing, and they said, why don't you sing a few? And then I asked them if anyone knew any Patsy Cline, and Tim just started playing Walking After Midnight, and I started singing Walking After Midnight, which was awesome. And then afterwards, I asked him, I said, would you be interested in doing a duo with me? At least let's practice and see if there's, any chemistry. And he was kind enough to say yes. And then we played maybe 2 gigs.
About that.
And then John, I can't remember where I first met you.
I don't remember where we met, but I remember you mentioned that you and Tim were going to be playing at the Woods Inn up in Inlet.
Oh.
And I was fishing up in that area that day.
That's
and
right.
I said, yeah, I'll stop by.
Well, and so it was funny. I don't know if you know this part of the story, but when you called me and said, can I sit in with you guys? And I didn't know, I was new to the area. I didn't know any musicians in the area. So I called Tim, and I'm like, Tim, this fellow by the name of John Hansel. I know, I had seen you play with Kathy Timian in Boonville.
Right.
That's where I'd seen you, and that's where you got my card. And so I called Tim, and I said, so there's a gentleman named John Hansel that wants to sit in with this. What do you think? And Tim was like, oh, yeah, he's really good. You want him to play with us. So that was it. And then it just clicked, and I was in hog heaven. I mean, because of my playing, I'm only sufficient. I'm not, I don't consider myself an instrumentalist. I get by, and I do play solo, and I do enjoy that very much. But to be able to play with guys of this caliber, I mean, I'm the luckiest girl in Central New York. I really am.
Yeah.
It's a blast. Really is.
Tim knows so many instruments. He's learning tuba right now.
I know. I want him to get the steel guitar out. That's what I'm interested in.
Yeah, bust that thing out.
Yeah.
How many instruments do you play?
Well, just the 3
Yeah.
out. But the lap steel is, when I get an occasion to, I love bringing that out.
Yeah.
And
I'm thinking
but I
there's an
think-
occasion coming.
I think my next internship, probably accordion, because there's places for that color too.
I have one just sitting around the house.
Is that right?
Yeah, I'll bring it over one day. Can you play it? Have you tried?
Yeah, I mean, I can play the keyboard enough to know my way around, but
It's the other part.
That's
So many buttons. That's what I told when Fritz was on here, Fritz Polka Band, when he was on the program, and I brought in the accordion, and I'm like, look at this. And he's like, this is a great accordion. I was like, it's too many buttons for me. How do you know which ones you're pushing? And, I could get by in the keyboard part too, but it's the buttons. I don't know. We'll learn together.
yeah, that's next.
Let's start a polka band.
Yeah, there you go. I was like the way.
My trunk's pretty full when I go to a job.
So when you go to a job, how many gigs? How many instruments are you bringing to a gig?
Well, yesterday, it was the fiddle, the tenor sax, and guitar. So, that's a lot to tune up.
What was your first instrument?
Guitar.
Guitar. You play piano at all?
I do play piano.
Yeah.
But not enough to play out.
Not enough to play out.
Yeah.
It's the universal instrument, right? If you could
It
play
should
like this
be.
and
It
go
should
like
be.
this.
It should be your first.
It
I
should be
wish
the
I
first.
wish I had lessons. I really do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really do. Yeah.
John, how many instruments are you playing? Or are you just sticking to the low end?
I play a little guitar, but it's funny you should mention this accordion in this because I went to Holy Trinity School here in Utica when I was real little, and I was probably I think in first grade, and then they asked how many kids would like to take the accordion. I was really small. As a matter of fact, when I was in high school at UFA, there was only one kid out of thousands of kids that went there then that was smaller than me, Tony Ferrone. And I weighed like 114 pounds in my senior year. So it was like I was really little. And they said, no, I was too small. I couldn't play the accordion. And they said you wouldn't be able to carry it and all that stuff. And
No tuba.
And
I was just gonna say.
and I wanted to play the piano because my mom liked Liberace, and I saw him on TV, and she was going like, whoa, she loved him, right? And so I said, yeah, I want to do that. And I think my mom knew more about Liberace than most people knew at the time. And she said, no, you're going to play baseball.
You might
She
catch
said-
something.
She said, you're going to play baseball. You're not going to play the piano. And so I never got the piano.
You never got to the piano.
I have one at the house now, and my daughter plays. But,
Oh, yeah?
And I started playing it when we first got it, but I had so much stuff to learn on my main instrument, which I play the upright bass and electric and acoustic guitar bass, and I'll learn songs on the guitar and try to overdub them on my little recorder and stuff like that. And I spend a lot of time learning things, so I don't get to, play the piano that much. So.
Are you doing any recording?
Not yet.
Not yet. Are you writing?
Hoping to. Yeah, actually, and we do as a trio. We do a couple of my originals.
Right.
And it would be really fun to collaborate and do some. Yeah, I have one CD that I produced when we were out in Western New York of music that I had written over a 20-year period, and it was really kind of cool to put that all together. But and then didn't really do much writing, and now I've been doing more writing. I'm inspired by these guys and all the wonderful music that's in the area, and so I've started to kind of write again. And there's one song that I'm really excited about doing that I wrote about the Adirondacks. And I'd love to do something with that. So now that I kind of have gotten to know some wonderful musicians and I know what instrumentation I want, and I can, I've gotten to know some folks, and so I'm excited actually about getting in the studio, and I'm hoping that we can do that this winter. Now that things have slowed down a little bit, so
You
yeah.
definitely are in a great circle of musicians.
Yes. Yes.
I got to ask you, what brought you to Boonville?
So we were living in Western New York, and my husband, don't hate me, everyone, but he works for National Grid. But he was a lineman, started out at Mass Electric. Anyway, got transferred to New York State, and we met actually in the Finger Lakes, and got married. Met and then got married 10 years ago. But we wanted to be further east because his kids were in Massachusetts, and mine were, in the Rochester area. And so Utica is kind of in the middle of it. And plus, we love fishing. We love hiking. We backpack. We've done like 350 miles on the Appalachian Trail. We've done the Northville Placid Trail. We love all of that. And so we wanted to be close to the mountains too. So when he got the job in New Hartford, at the New Hartford barn, we wanted to be as close to the mountains as we could be, and he's still within this, close enough to the barn. And Boonville was about as far out as we could get. And it took a while to get settled into Boonville, but we finally have, a community of friends, and we love it. But it took a while to kind of adjust. And the snow, oh, sweet Jesus. Lots of snow for this Alabama girl.
Yeah, for sure. And it's coming too.
Oh, yeah.
Waking up this morning, seeing some of it on the ground, it's like, oh, here we go.
Yep.
There it is again. But that's why I think there's so many great musicians in the area, because there's 9 months of winter. So you're stuck inside playing the instruments.
Right.
You have to learn your craft because there's nothing else to do out of those 9 months.
There may be something to that.
Yeah, we just have winter and summer.
Yeah.
That's it. 3 months of summer, 9 months of winter.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you guys have any upcoming gigs you guys can promote?
So we have a Mojo's gig. So we all play with the Fabulous Mojos, and that's coming up December 5th. That is
on Sunday.
Yes, and that's in Mayfield. Do you know any more details about that one?
I thought that was the Mayfield Grill.
Mayfield Grill, and it's east of Caroga Lake. There, it's not really the Utica area, but when Kathy was with the Mojos, we played there a few times, and it's a riot. The crowd is like so into it right from the first song right to the end, and they've asked us a couple of times to play an extra set, and they paid us extra for it.
That's awesome.
And it was it's a really rocking club. So it's small. There's no stage. You're on the floor, and but it's just the people that make that place, and the food is really good, and the owners and everybody, they treat you really well. So it's a really good gig.
Nice. What other gigs you got coming?
So January 22nd, we're going to be in Lowville at the Batesman Draft House. So that'll be the next trio gig. If anybody's looking for a trio.
How do they get in touch?
So actually Facebook, look up Rebeca Minor. My professional page is Facebook at Rebeca Minor Music. And you can message me there. And I'm sure you can also reach out to John or Tim on Facebook as well. But we were really busy this summer. But I'm going to be down south for about a week and a half, the second part of December. So we don't have anything booked in December. We're going to take some time off for Christmas to see family. And I'm trying to book stuff for the new year. And we'd love to be as busy as we were this summer. That was really fun. We had a blast this summer. So
awesome. And Tim, you're playing in like 15 bands.
Yes.
Like seriously, he's got a gig every day.
He does.
You are literally the hardest working musician out there.
He is.
Well, one of them. There's so many musicians out there that are working. It's good to see everybody back to work. Thank God. Thank God everybody's back to work.
Right.
Well, who are you playing? So you're playing with Stage Road. You're playing with the Mojos. You're playing with Rebeca. Am I missing anybody?
Well, Brian Mulkern.
Brian. I can't forget Brian.
And most recently, Stage Road.
And Stage Road, yeah.
So that's enough to stay busy.
You just joined them.
Yes.
How's that been going?
That's going well. I've been subbing with them for a couple years, and when the time was right, which is now, the door is open to when their guitar player is leaving. The time is right to join Stage Road.
Are
So.
you just playing guitar with them?
No, actually, some sax. Well, probably fiddle too, but yeah. I just add the colors.
Give me the canvas and I'll paint it for
Yeah,
you.
here's what you need.
How do you manage to juggle all those?
Well, everybody wants to practice. That's where the juggling is. Well, the calendar too. But, if I can't give 100% to every project, I mean, then, tone it down. But still, I like the challenge. Like Brian's band is the only one where I play violin and sax and guitar and sing. But with Brian, you don't know what's next. You don't. There's, I wait for the song to start. Okay, this song needs, But just as many times, I only have a sax with me. So I've got to do the whole catalog just on sax. It's been a great learning experience. Nobody's boosted my fiddle and sax like Brian has.
There's a lot of open space there.
It is, and to just play that one instrument. Well, it's actually playing all his songs on 3 instruments. Yeah,
And he improvises a lot, correct?
he can take a left turn. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it just makes you a better player, though, when you're improvising and trying to stay in the pocket.
So, this trio, I play acoustic guitar, and that's a new challenge to me. I mean, to actually acoustic guitar on a stage, and the chance to sing too. I gotta say, because that's my newest. Well, I've always sang, but singing now is my new enjoyment.
Yeah.
And this group gives me lots of space.
Was singing something you weren't comfortable with before?
It's just the chance to, sing lead vocal and step out front. Because I've always been the consummate sideman, right? It's like I hook up with a great vocalist, and whether they need lead guitar or that's been the plan. But it's been fun recently to step out front. It's like I get a chance to drive the bus.
He's a good bus driver.
Yeah.
When we started working together, I told Tim that, and we decided on the Rebeca Minor trio because folks were, I'm not well known, but people were starting to follow me as a solo person, and so they said, let's just stick with the Rebeca Minor trio. But I told the guys, I'm like, I don't want this to be just about me. I want us all to be doing what we enjoy doing. And I told Tim, I said, I love singing harmonies. I enjoy that nearly as much as I do singing lead. So it's been really fun to have Tim sing and me sing back up for Tim, and he sings back up for me, and John's back there filling in the bass and doing some vocals too. We're gonna get him involved in some more.
They're helping me learn how to sing.
Oh, John, you're the glue. The bass player is always the glue to the band.
Totally the glue.
Yeah.
Totally.
But before we get too far into this, you can catch Tim Friday night at First Fridays at Munson Williams, right? That's this week coming up.
That's with Brian.
With Brian Mulkern's
Friday.
band.
Excellent.
Yeah, and they are really good. Anybody that hasn't seen them, I urge you to go.
Yeah, no, it's
Check 'em
great.
out.
They're great.
John, how many projects are you playing in?
I got the trio.
Yeah.
Which is, I got another project with my friend John Kelsey, who him and I have been friends since I was in Driving Sideways, and maybe even before then. His dad and Dinger, who is my brother-in-law, Dave Wingfield, guitar player formerly with Classified. Now he's with Ryan Quinn doing a lot of his solo gigs with him, or now a duo with him, with Ryan. Dinger actually taught Ryan how to play the guitar.
Yeah. Ryan refers to him as his crazy Uncle Dave.
Yeah. Yeah. Ryan's dad and I and Dinger and Paul Case with Rick Gherkin.
Pickle.
Pickle. We had a band called Driving Sideways
Yep.
back in the 70s. It was a pretty popular band. Oh, you were asking me about what other bands am I in?
Yeah. Talk about the children's songs that you were doing.
Oh,
too.
right. Yeah, the Kelsey thing.
Yeah.
Kelsey called me up and he said he's doing this thing with Cassandra Harris from the Phoenix Radio and newspaper here in Utica. And I've known who she was for a long time, known some family members of hers. But I didn't know she sang. I mean, I knew way back in the 60s and 70s she sang a little bit and played some guitar and stuff like that. But she writes some songs. She writes some really good children's songs and other songs that she's really, really good at. She sings really well. And her and Kelsey and I did a children's concert at Hannah Park down here this summer, and it went really good. And then we ended up doing a thing with a fundraiser for Anthony Brindisi. Now on the 18th, we're doing another Christmas show for kids at the Oneida County History Center on Genesee Street here in the 1600 block of Genesee Street. And that's going to be a lot of fun. I'll be in my Santa suit, with a Santa hat. I've got the beard trimmed up.
He's trimmed up.
And I'll be wearing my red
very
Comets
dapper.
jersey. Go Comets!
Go
Go
Comets.
Comets.
And that'll be a lot of fun. And I'm looking forward to doing more stuff with those guys too. But
So you're doing some Christmas songs?
yeah, it's all Christmas stuff.
Yeah.
And I think we're gonna have some local politicians. I'm not going to name any names, but and well-known people in the area come in and read stories to the kids. We're going to hand out books.
Oh, cool.
To the
That's
to the
cool.
kids and stuff like that. And it's going to be a lot of fun.
Did you have to relearn these Christmas songs?
Yeah, I never really knew any to begin with because I didn't. I mean, I did actually. I used to play some, and I did something when I lived in Connecticut. I did for a couple of parties. You know, for when my kids were real little, I'd come and play the guitar and sing some kiddie songs and stuff like that, and that was fun. And I learned a couple of Christmas songs way back then. That was, almost 30 years ago. But don't really know. I never really played a Christmas gig, but I'm liking it.
Fun.
This is stand-up on this application, or?
Like you, I'll bring the instrument that is most needed for what we were doing. And when we did the children's thing at Hannah Park, I played the upright bass. When we did the Anthony Brindisi show, I played the electric fretless bass because we did this one song, Elton John's Daniel, and I have a very close friend of mine that passed away. His name was Dan Thomas, who lived on James Street here for a little while. So that song was real dear to me. And there's either a flute or synthesizer solo in that thing. And I learned it on fretless bass, and it sounded like really good. So I played it and we ended up doing all of those songs with the fretless bass. So, and you'll see the promo picture with the hummingbirds for that thing is from the Brindisi show, but they kind of put snow in the background and stuff like that. So now it looks like we're that. But I'm not sure. I think I'm going to be using the upright bass for these kids' songs there. And but I also might be using my acoustic guitar bass because it's way easier to transport. And it sounds good.
We love his stand-up bass, and so for the trio, John plays his stand-up bass, and seeing John, just a picture of John with that stand-up bass is in and of itself a work of art, and he's so good, and it's got such a beautiful sound. And when I found out that he could play stand-up, because the first time you played with us, you had the acoustic, and when I found out that he had stand-up, I'm like, oh please.
It's like lugging furniture around, though, right?
It is.
It's a challenge to bring it around some places.
And, but it's so beautiful.
And it's you know, if you use more than one bass on, it's like having another person on the stage. So sometimes it's not even an option.
Yeah.
You know,
It's a large person. It is a large person, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. We actually do a number all about the bass. We do sort of that.
Oh yeah.
That, and we just the two of us do
like
it. Well, Tim does some cute little percussion stuff.
I had the color.
Yeah, yeah. You're the painter. You're the painter. Is this the first time Tim and John played in a band together? Or?
Yeah.
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 Well,
we
maybe
did
a couple with Kathy.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
It was more like we were sitting in. Oh no, that's right. We did both those shows at the Otter Lake when they raffle off the truck. There, the last two that they had bands at, and Tim, me, Kathy, John Gillespie. Yeah, I think that was it, and did those, and that was a really fun thing too. Yeah, that's where I first saw him play, and I said, "This guy's really got something going."
Yeah.
And him and her, when I saw them two play together, it was, you know, I could see that they had a real chemistry thing going on there, and I thought me playing the stand-up bass with them would be would fit really good, and I think it does.
Yeah.
And another thing, Mike Grimaldi, I forgot to tell you, I also work with him. He's down in Florida. Midnight Mike and the Bent Blinds. I'm with those guys, with Rod Kaiser and Mark Klausner. There are two Mark Klausners that are friends of mine, and both of them play the drums. And it's just really funny. But Midnight says about the upright bass, he says it's like bringing a puppy to a teenage girl's sleepover. It's like everybody loves it, you know, just to look at it. You know?
It's true. It's true. It's true. Next time I have a sleepover, bring your bass.
Yeah.
You can't stay, but the bass can stay.
Yeah.
Wait.
There you go. You got one. Yeah. See,
I've been watching.
You've been waiting to ring that
I've
bell.
been waiting to ring that bell.
I love it. It is Local Music Monday, and I'm hanging with the Rebeca Minor Trio. What can people expect? What kind of covers are you doing? What's your set list consist of when you guys are playing?
So one of the reasons that I love playing with these guys is that we play a little bit of everything. So when I was in the rock band, it was all rock and roll, right? And my background's in theater, and so of course it was, you know, there's no business like show business, right? Show tunes, and then I was in seminary, so it was gospel and Christian music, and with but my background was also folk and bluegrass. With these guys, we play bluegrass, we play classic country, we play rock and roll. And we're doing blues and jazz. I mean, we just, whatever we all of us love all kinds of music, and we just do it all. And I love that so much. And then original stuff too. So
when people ask me what's it like with what kind of stuff do you do with the trio, I said she sings everything from Patsy Cline to Lady Gaga, and I'm not kidding you.
Love it.
We do a Lady Gaga song too. Do the Alice Merton's No Roots. And
yeah, it's really fun.
So we got some really contemporary stuff in there mixed in with the old stuff, and everything more or less has our own spin on it. You know, it's not, you know, a total rip-off of the originals.
Right.
That's where Tim comes in painting.
Yes.
Well, she's taken to the cajon also now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
And so that shifts it differently where we can bang a little harder.
Yeah. I'm very limited in my banging, but yes. It's fun. It's actually really fun, but it was. I still have a lot to learn. So any drummers that come out and see us, I apologize up front. But I can't hold a beat. That's about all. But it's super fun. Oh, the No Root song is a big blast on that one. So yeah, and we just have a good time. You know, I think we're all. We all love music. We love all kinds of music. With the Mojos, we mostly do blues, and that sort of was out of my wheelhouse too, and I've loved learning blues, but if I thought that I was only able to spend the rest of my life singing one genre of music, I'd shoot myself.
Yeah.
I mean, I love singing pretty, and then I love belting stuff out and gravel too. I mean, I like it all. And so when you come hear us, that's what you get. You get a little bit of everything. So there will be something in the evening that you will favorite that you'll hear and recognize. So
it's good to be diverse.
yeah,
Mix it up a little bit.
yeah.
And it's so cool to be out at a club and you hear something random that you wouldn't expect.
Yes.
For instance, this past weekend I mentioned we were seeing Showtime and Ryan Quinn singing Prince was just like, wow. Like, stuff like that kind of makes you turn your head, and that is the way people remember you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Doing random covers.
I do. Actually, one of the neatest things, actually, John has done it with me before. But one of the songs that I like to do solo is I like to do the Rolling Stones Under My Thumb.
Oh, cool.
And it's interesting because I read a story about that Mick Jagger stopped singing that song because if you really read the lyrics, they're kind of offensive. But if you turn it on its head and it's a woman singing Under My Thumb,
it's equally offensive, but more fun.
It's more fun. Yeah, exactly. It's not as threatening, It's more like it's kind of tongue in cheek. So I like to do that sort of thing. I like to sing a lot of songs that traditionally men sing and kind of make it my own as well. And that's really, really fun. So yeah.
You also run marathons too, right?
I did.
You did.
I did. I ran my first marathon with my son, my 27-year-old son, in October. Yeah, it was my very first one, and I've signed up for my second one. Going to be out, going to run it with my daughter-in-law out in Whitefish, Montana.
Wow.
In May. So I'm actually working with a personal trainer. Shout out to Upstate Empire Fitness Center. Cassandra Grippy is like kicking me into shape because I had some knee trouble, with my training for my marathon, and I think I had some imbalances. So I'm trying to stay young. I'm trying to keep it all tucked and tight, and running helps with that. So
where was the marathon in October?
That was in where frickin' was the marathon? Albany. I just totally blanked out. Yeah, it was in Albany. Yeah, and it's actually it's the Hudson Mohawk River Marathon, and a lot of people run it because it's flat. And so people can use that to qualify for like the Boston Marathon.
Oh, wow.
And they get fast times. Mm-hmm. For me, it was great because it was my first attempt. And I'm like, yeah, flat's good.
What's the distance on that one?
26.2.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how long did it take you?
It took me a long time. So the cutoff point was 6 hours, and I was on pace to run at about 5 hours, 25 minutes. And then debilitating cramps hit from my toes all the way up to my groin. My legs just started spasming. And my longest training run had been 23 miles. And so I'm like, this no sweat, I can do this. But I had never had cramps before. And I was fighting a cold that day, and I think that contributed. And it was awful, but the people were so nice. Folks were stopped and helped me. They were like, are you okay? And one guy walked a whole mile with me, and so I'm speed walking, and I'm looking at the clock going, I'm not going to get my ribbon and my medal if I don't come in under 6 hours, because the cutoff was 6. So I made it. Started running again, was able to kind of recover. I had family members that brought me electrolytes and stuff, and I ran it in 5 hours and 52 minutes.
Wow.
So this next one, I'm going to break 5:30, so that's my goal. I'm not a speedster, but hey.
But for your first one, you went big.
I went big.
You didn't even ease yourself into it. You just went for the gusto.
I went for the gusto. Well, it was a long training process, but I did. I was really proud of myself. At 56 years old.
You didn't even start at the Boilermaker or anything.
Well, I've done the Boilermaker.
Oh, okay.
Actually, that was the first time I saw Showtime.
Gotcha.
Was the Boilermaker. It was 3 years ago. I've run 2 of them. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to run, actually, again this year, but the Boilermaker, when they rescheduled the date, it was the same day as the marathon.
Oh, wow.
So I did that. But, yeah, that was the first time I heard Showtime. By the way, real quick, I want to bring up one thing. You'd mentioned Paul Case's name, and I just want to do a shout-out to Paul Case.
Yes.
He's ill.
Yes.
And got a very sad diagnosis. And I don't. He's posted on Facebook, so I don't think I'm saying anything. But he's in a fight for his life, and just shout out to him. He actually came to see me play up in Old Forge, and really nice gentleman, wonderful musician.
Yeah.
And just our hearts go out to him, and hang in there, Paul. We're thinking of you.
Local legend, and I'm glad you
Absolutely.
brought it up, and we're all sending you positive vibes and
Yeah.
healing vibes out to you, Paul.
Absolutely.
You played with him for many years, right, John?
Yeah, and he well, we're gonna go fishing, Paul.
Yeah.
This spring. That's all. I don't want to address his the negative.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
We're gonna focus on the positive,
Yep.
Paul.
Exactly. But again, another huge circle of great musicians in this area. It's plenty. Is there anybody on your wish list that you want to play with?
Can I just
Yes.
tell you something? Back when I was
course.
in Driving Sideways,
Yeah.
I was reading Downbeat magazine. I'm a kind of jazz, not a great jazz player, but I love the music and I read all about it and all this stuff. And I was reading this article in Downbeat magazine in it was probably around 78, 79, and it was called The Upstate Burn. And they mentioned Sal Alberico Sr., Sal Nistico, and J.R. Montrose, all three guys from the Utica area here. And all these guys were in the big swing bands back in the day. J.R. Montrose was with Charlie Mingus and Sal.
Sal Brico played with everybody.
Yeah, and there's a whole lot of, when the swing bands broke up, a lot of those guys got regular jobs upstate here, in the central New York area, and their kids all became really good players, right? And that raised the competition level for I think that's the reason why we have so many good musicians in the area, because mainly because of that, because the field got really tough, and so you had to be good. And we had guys, Joey Bonamassa from this area. We got Paul Angelosa, great guitar player. Paul Case Dinger, my brother-in-law, another really great guitar player from this area. There's I could go on. I mean, there's other musicians too, and we have an influx of people from other places. Like in Madison County, we have Adams and McDowell. Diane Adams, a Tony Award-winning vocal arranger. She won her Tony Award for Gentleman's Guide to Murder, and they have a studio down there. And she was the musical director for Syracuse Stage, and her and her husband have had a show on Broadway called The Wind in the Willows. They did a full production thing like that, and got a 4-star review from the New York Times. I mean, and they work with the best jazz musicians out of the Syracuse area, and with them, and they're just phenomenal. And I just posted this morning a cut from their Christmas CD, which you can get on iTunes, and it's called "Sleepin' Heavenly Peas," and it's really, really great. And but I'm plugging everybody I know here.
That's great.
There's just like a ton of really great players.
Great point too about the old guys coming up.
Oh yeah,
like they set the bar.
Oh yeah,
they set the bar pretty high, and then a lot of, like you said, a lot of their kids came up playing. Also, we got to put on that list the guys from Mo, my buddies from Mo. I mean, those guys are killing.
Oh
it
yeah,
out there,
really young guys.
Yeah.
Well, Nick Piccinini.
Nick Piccinini too.
Right.
Another one.
Absolutely.
There's just so many great musicians and out there doing big things.
Yep,
it's good to see.
Yeah.
So so I've had actually the privilege of playing with some really. I actually got to sit in with the Dust Devil Band and got to sing with George Devaney, who's
amazing player,
amazing,
in the New York State Blues Hall of Fame,
and George Newton, who was on the slide guitar, and I was just like terrified and tickled pink, and I sang Etta James, I'd Rather Go Blind, and that was just. And actually, Tim was there that night, and I walked back to the table, and he was grinning from ear to ear like a proud papa. I was like, I did it. But it was so fun, and then and so that was a real privilege. Dave Liddy, I would love to collaborate with Dave Liddy. He's an amazing keyboard player, and we're crossing our fingers that maybe we can do a collaboration with Dave Liddy. He's just amazingly talented. And then I've gotten to know Colin Aberdeen from the Syracuse area.
Los Blancos.
Just so amazingly talented and a really nice person.
Absolutely.
So I'd love to collaborate with Colin one day. That would be super cool.
Another super busy musician.
Yeah.
Right there.
Oh, yeah.
Colin's always out there doing his thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was just up at Copper City recently. Actually, he does some things. I saw him play up at Slickers actually this past summer. I try to. This is the challenging part when you're a musician and you're busy and you have people that you want to hear play. It's hard to see everyone that you want to see.
Right.
And it's like the Ladies of Soul. I mean, Grady Faulkner and that whole group, they're amazing. And I've only gotten to see them twice. In fact, I wanted to see them at the Turquoise Tiger, and just I couldn't get there. But I mean, there's so many different types of music, like we've said, and that's the hardest part. Is you want to, and then some nights I just want to stay home and sit on the couch and watch a movie. So Tim's out every night, I think, listening, either playing or listening to music. But
he's a man about town.
He is a man about town. But,
do you guys frequent the open mic jams, like the Blues Society?
On occasion.
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah,
Do you?
yeah.
Do you go often?
Unity Hall was actually in Barneveld. That's where I built my music family, because it took me a long time. I started doing nursing home shows, but it was hard breaking into this area because nobody knew me, and it was frustrating because I had developed I wasn't big, but I developed a following in the Niagara Falls and Buffalo area between the band and solo, and then I moved here, and I just couldn't get anybody to open their door, and then I started doing had like about 10 nursing homes. That was great. That was really fun. But then I started going to open mics. And the one that really did it for me was the open mic in Barneveld, Unity Hall. And if folks have never been, you have to go. It's amazing because when you go there, it's not a bar, where people are talking. When you're singing, people are listening. Mm-hmm. And that's where I met Ed Rosenberg, Tom Fiore of Above the Dam, has become a very good friend. Matt Melnick, who runs that whole stage there. That's where my music family began, and then I gradually started to get to know folks, and frankly, Tom Fiore and Ed Rosenberg of the Dust Devil Band. They were pushing me. They were telling people, you need to hear this girl sing. She's great, and they were so supportive of me. And I can't say enough about this music community. It took a long time to get my foot in the door, but when you're in the door, everybody is just so supportive. It's not competition. It's everybody is in this together, and it's a family, and I love that. Yeah.
It's great networking. Mm-hmm. And everybody's very easy to lend a helping hand.
Yeah.
It's great. That's what I love about the whole Blues Society, what they're doing too. Yeah. They just open their doors for everybody. Yeah. And there's every now and then they'll be like, oh, you got to see this kid play, this kid. And there's always some up and coming hot shot.
And talking about bands you like to go out and see, mm-hmm. you can't not mention they have like 4 bands. The Sistai Brothers.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
And
the Blarney Rebel Band.
Justice McBride, Les Brares, and the acoustic Les Brares, so
King Cool.
And King Cool. So there's 5 different bands.
They're fantastic.
And I always love those guys, and I've seen them, and I've known Danny for a long time. We were both mailmen, we worked together a little bit in New Hartford, but I've known him even before then. I think I saw him when he was 16 or 17, 18 years old, and just been around a long time. So, know those guys. And Blueprints, which is Dave Liddy and George Devaney's band, with Bruce Tetley from Out of the Blue, which was another great band back in the day. And both of those bands I really wanted to give a plug to because they're all really good.
Yeah. A lot of good stuff. And, since we're on the kind of like blues talk, I got to give a shout out to Uncle Charlie and the Meatballs. You guys remember Uncle Charlie?
That's another Tim.
Yeah.
Tim sits in with those guys a lot, too.
Do you?
Oh, that's always fun.
They're a revolving door of great musicians, too. They're always opening their doors to whomever. You sitting with them often?
As often as I can.
Yeah.
Sometimes they invite me, but Adam and Tony are great to play with. And we have a lot of fun. Can't wait for the next one.
Yeah, good people. And back to the Sistine Brothers, too. LeBrers, I love that band.
Oh, yeah.
I love the Allman Brothers.
Yeah.
Always, I try to get out to see them as much as I can.
Them and the Blarney Band a few times. So
awesome.
Yeah, all those guys, Al, Mark, and Danny. Mark and I did the Last Waltz. That was like 3 years ago. And it had Lenny Milano, Joe Perry, Mark Sistai, me, a whole bunch of guests. There was a girl from Rochester, Danielle Ponder. She came in and sang a couple songs and just blew the roof off the place. That was a really, really good show. And the sound man, Rich Weiglos, just put it on Facebook today that he's got tapes of that, and he can print up CDs for anybody who wants one. It'll cost you a little bit, but not much. And,
they've even gone as far as putting on a whole production of Jesus Christ Superstar.
They did that at the Uptown.
They did that at the Uptown back in like the 90s.
Cool.
Yep.
And they went all on that one. And
those guys are a really creative bunch of people.
Yeah.
And really dedicated to music, promoting music in the area too.
For sure. Yeah, Mark's right there with his column in the OD, and he's always actively searching for upcoming gigs, and he's out there very out there in the forefront as far as waving the flag for local musicians, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And getting the word out.
Yeah.
Yeah, getting the word out. Anything else you guys like to promote before we get out of here? Have you got any upcoming gigs or anything you want to talk about?
Well, we're in the slow season here. That's that's the thing. We should be working more on writing and stuff like that. We got a couple of things coming up here in this Christmas area here, but I'm looking forward to doing some more rehearsing, especially with the trio, and expanding the repertoire. And I got this crazy idea. I haven't even mentioned it to these guys yet, but I'm going to teach her how to play the bass, and I can back up Tim on the guitar so he could play the fiddle and his other things on some songs.
He's calling an audible.
I'm very scared.
and we'll see how that goes.
It's breaking news.
Might not happen.
That's breaking. He's going to break me.
Might not happen at all.
You're going to play the bass so he can play guitar.
He's scaring me here.
And so you can play the fiddle.
So I can learn the fiddle. She can learn the... Okay.
All right.
You're going to be the mad fiddler.
We'll see.
We'll
see. Stay tuned.
He was my influence to really play fiddle around here.
The mad fiddler?
Yeah, Stan Parcola.
You used to see him at all the hockey games.
Yeah.
He used to be at all the hockey games back with the Mohawk Valley Stars and the Comets back in the day. And that's how I knew of him.
He crashed this wedding in
he crashed everything.
It Dibbles, a wedding at Dibbles, and he had the girls, the wedding party, dancing on the tables. And he's the Hendrix of the, behind the back, between the knees. Orchestra players think, he's terrible, but he's just a showman that you don't see that.
Is he still with us?
I don't know. He had a bad wrist. I worked with him at GE for a while. I really haven't seen him in years. But just to mention the Mad Fiddler, but that was an influence.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
So I got one more thing to promote. Is January 7th, I'm going to be playing solo unless I can talk these guys into coming again. We did this Camden Good Life Tavern. We played there as the trio. So I've got that January 7th with the Honey Badgers, another group to definitely appreciate, and Richard Naz and Lori Bogan. So.
Oh, January 28th, I have my first solo debut.
That's right.
At the Good Life.
Yeah.
That's right.
And thank you, Rich Nasby.
Yes.
Are you bringing up all your instruments for that, or just guitar?
No, that's just acoustic guitar solo.
Cool.
And yeah, that's exciting.
That'll be a fun night.
We'll be there to cheer him on.
How could people find you online if they're looking to find your upcoming dates and whatnot?
So the best way to do it is Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
I do have a website, but I'm technically incompetent, and Facebook is just easier. I don't do anything with my website now. I've got to address that. But Facebook, Rebeca Miner Music, and it's Miner, Miner. Yeah, and we post all of the solo, trio gigs, as well as the Mojos, and then the Fabulous Mojos has a separate page as well. So you can see us out and about in 3 different ways. But this is my treasure right here. These guys. This is what I really. Don't get me wrong. I love all of it. But
This is your hub.
yeah, yeah. This is the fun one. So
It feels like home to me.
Yeah.
This project here. It's a really comfortable arrangement that we have. So,
That's awesome.
looking, forward
John's
to the
our.
future.
We elect John the musical director. I mean, every group needs
yes.
the musical director. They might not be the leader, but
Right.
and he's always right.
Yes, all right. Wait, ring the bell, John.
Bingo.
You're always right, John.
I know some people they will not agree with
Amy
that.
might not always agree with that one.
Well, this is a great hang. Thank you so much. And Rebecca, if you
you.
have anything coming up, like a record or shows that you want to promote, please use my platform.
Oh, we really appreciate
That's
you
what it's
having
here
us.
for.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much. This was fun.
Shout out to Kelly for setting this up.
Yes,
She's the one. You got to get her. You got to get her. So here we are.
Well,
It
really
happened.
appreciate.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Kelly.
Kelly.
Yes, thank you, Kelly.
And thank you, Z.
Oh, thank you so
I'm
much.
sorry we didn't get to meet Justin.
Yeah, we'll make it happen. We'll make it happen. Unfortunately, he couldn't get the sitter today, so.
Understand.
But he's at home attending to the family, which he's a good man for.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Great individual, and make sure you go out and support Showtime and the Rebecca Miner Trio and the Fabulous Mojos and Brian Walkern and all these projects that you guys got going on. Like I said, you should develop a musical family tree.
Absolutely.
It'll be very extensive.
Absolutely.
Shout out to my sponsors. If not for my sponsors, this podcast isn't possible. Thank you to EJA Moving Services, Joey's at 307, Utica Coffee, my attorney Dave Longaretta, Saranac Brewery. Under Too Long is a book by Billy the Liquor Guy. Check it out. It's a great read. You can get it on Amazon or wherever you buy your books. And big ups to ballwash.com. Use promo code members only. 15% discount. Get yourself some nut rub. We didn't get into the nut rub, but we will next time.
I was going to ask you about that because I've heard you promoting that. I'm like,
Hygiene for your groin area. They need to come out with some women products.
maybe a
soon.
Christmas present for my husband.
It's a perfect stocking stuffer. I'm telling you. Make his groin area smell nice and fresh. Thank you guys for coming in. This has been a lot of fun. Make sure you check out Rebecca and all the great things that she's doing out there. You guys have yourself a good day. See you later.
Thank you.